Hello, welcome to Jabber with Jenna. It's been a long time, hasn't it? So, you might have noticed I have not posted in a while. Basically, uni got really busy at the end of last term. We had our musical and there was so much drama with it because of COVID and isolation and things. We kept losing people. I had to move on to my friend's sofa. Our show got pushed a week earlier, so we had a week less of rehearsal because of the travel period that the government had set for students to go home for Christmas. And then we lost our entire tech team because they all had to isolate. So we had no stage manager, no lighting person, no sound person, nothing like that. So our poor director and choreographer had to do absolutely everything themselves. That was crazy. And then I was just so exhausted. I came home for Christmas and I just did absolutely nothing. I completely lost motivation for everything. And it's taken me until now to finally start. This week, literally this week, I finally started getting my motivation back. Which is nice because I've missed my motivation. I just had a really rough patch in my life. I just was doing absolutely nothing. I wasn't happy at all. Yeah, I just completely lost love for everything. I couldn't play the piano, which is what I enjoyed. I wasn't enjoying reading books. I literally just, I wasn't enjoying anything. And I've slowly been building up, doing things I enjoy again. And you know, I finally feel like I'm getting back to being a normal person. I've also dyed my hair purple and blue, and that's helped, you know. It's given me happiness. So you know, if you go through a patch in your life like that, I stopped everything. I went back to square one and started again, and I'm building my life, rebuilding my life completely. I've started fresh. But one thing I still want to do is make YouTube videos. And I know I've had a big break, but I used to really enjoy it, and I think I'm going to start enjoying it again now, especially because I'm at home and university's online, so I've got time to do things. I can't go anywhere, can't see anyone, which is fine, you know. Actually, I'm okay with that. I'm starting to enjoy life again, which is really nice. So anyway, today I'm going to be telling you about the 50 books I read in 2020. Now, my New Year's resolution last year was to read more. I think I set myself a goal of 12 books because I'd completely gone off reading, and I completely smashed that. Obviously because of lockdown was one of the reasons that I just read so many books. So I'm going to tell you the 50 books I read in 2020. In chronological order, I'll have you know. So I use Goodreads to track my books. It's fun. I love Goodreads, and you can follow your friends and see what books they're reading. So the first book I read, which is a random book I found on my brother's shelf, is called Invasion by John S. Lewis. It was way too young for me, but I enjoyed it and sped through it really fast. So then I read the other two in the series, Alienation and Domination, both by John S. Lewis. Next, I read Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, and oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads, and this is what really got me into reading for the year, because I loved that book so much, and I was like a new person. It set me off on a good start. Then I read Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, and this is the first piece of classic literature I'd ever read. I really wanted to get into classic literature. I don't know if I would recommend that as the first book you should read for classic literature, but I would definitely recommend you read it. Then I read The Circle by Dave Eggers. Eggers, maybe? Oh yeah, you'll notice a lot of the books I read this year are like Shakespeare and academic, to do with my university course. But I've only put them in my Goodreads if I read the absolute whole thing. Like if I just read chapters of a book, I haven't put it in. So next I read Measure for Measure by William Shakespeare. Then I read Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare. Then I read A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare. Then I read This Is Going to Hurt, The Secret Diaries of a Junior Doctor by Adam Kay. Beautiful book, read it. Beautifully horrifying, really. Then I read The Actor and the Target by Declan Donnellan. Honestly, I can't even remember reading that book. Then I read Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. Then I read The Maze Runner by James Dashner. As You Like It by William Shakespeare. Then The Scorched Trials, which is the second Maze Runner book by James Dashner. Then I read The Actor and His Body by Litz Pisk. Then I read The Death Cure, which is Maze Runner 3 by James Dashner. And then I read The Kill Order, which is the Maze Runner 4 by James Dashner. And I read these books just as the pandemic was starting. And if you've read them and know what they're about, it was really scary. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so real to life. I don't know what's going on. And like, yeah, it was funny. Funny and terrifying. Oh, next I read Good Omens by Terry Pratchett. This is by far my favourite book. I love it so much. Read Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman. I watched the series with my dad and so enjoyed it, so I was like, I have to read this, and the book is even better. Then I read I Am Thunder by Mohammed Khan. This book was really, really good. I gave it 5 stars. I recommend you read it. It's a beautiful book. Then I read The Taming of the Shrew by William Shakespeare. Then I read The Diary of Anne Frank. Yeah. Good, 5 stars. Yeah, amazing. Then I read The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne. Then I read You're the One That I Want by Giovanni Fletcher. I read To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, which I loved. That's also gone on my list of favourite books. Gave it 5 stars. And my friend Sophie sent me a book in the post, The Woman Who Went to Bed for a Year, which I really, really enjoyed, by Sue Townsend. Then I read Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and this went on my favourite books list. I loved Little Women. It's such a good classic book, and I would recommend that if you're starting out with classic literature. I would recommend Little Women. Then I read Tough Love by Anne Cassidy. Then I read The Magician's Nephew by C.S. Lewis from the Chronicles of Narnia. I read The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I read The Colour of Magic by Terry Pratchett. I read The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, and I didn't really rate this. Sorry if that offends anyone, but I don't know, I wasn't really a fan. Then I read A Clash of Kings, which is the second book in the Game of Thrones series. Then I read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I'm not the biggest fan of Jane Austen. I am a big fan of Bronte sisters though. Then I reread Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Oh, and then I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Amazing. 100% recommend. Read that book. Then I read Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince with Harry Potter 6. Then I read The Tattooist of Auschwitz. Read that book. Oh my gosh. Tattooist of Auschwitz. I mean, I couldn't put it down. I think I read it in a day. Then I read The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which is C.S. Lewis from the Chronicles of Narnia. I read Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. I read If I Stayed by Gail Forman. I read The Ruby in the Smoke by Philip Pullman. I read So You Want to Be in Musicals by Ruthie Henshaw. I read Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which I really enjoyed, and I want to see the play. I don't care if people don't like it. I am a massive Harry Potter fan and will always love everything that is produced by it. I don't love J.K. Rowling, however, but the Harry Potter world, I love. And then I reread Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Oh. And then, oh my gosh, I read Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Changed my life. I love Jane Eyre. Everyone read Jane Eyre. Jane Eyre is the most wonderful book, I promise. And then I read The Binding by Bridget Collins, which I didn't know anything about. It was a book my friend Joseph bought me for my birthday, I think. Oh my gosh, I didn't know anything about it, but it's an amazing book. It takes a while to kick in, but once it kicked, once the turning point happened, I could not stop reading. Oh my gosh, such a good book. Then I read The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky. Don't know how to say it. And then I read A Storm of Swords with Part 1, Steel and Snow, which is part 1 of the third book. So the third book is 2 books, if that makes sense, of the Game of Thrones series. And then the last book I read isn't exciting. It's a book I'm reading for my dissertation. Is Shakespeare and the Welsh by Frederick J. Harries. So yeah, now that I've said them all out loud, it does seem like quite a lot. Like, I think I see like other people talking about how many books they've read, and like a YouTuber I follow, Ruby Granger, has read like 150 books in a year, and I'm like, I thought it was an achievement to read 50. The books I would really, really recommend you read are Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, Little Women by Louisa May Alcott, and A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed my first video of 2021 and my first video back. I love reading, and I love talking about books. So if you love books, then I hope you enjoyed. And if you don't love books, then I'm sorry if this was completely boring. Yeah, thank you. Lots of love. I'll see you next time. Bye.